Derek Van Shake here. First, a sociopath is someone who lacks empathy and conscience, which causes them to use people as pawns. It's not like sociopaths don't show emotion and empathy for others. They do. However, it's all fake based on how they believe they should act in the moment to get what they want from other people. If you're not sure you're a sociopath, here's an instant general test for you. Someone just got their fingers slammed in a car door. What did you feel when I said that? If you didn't feel anything, you could be a sociopath. If you cringed inside, you're probably not one. Sociopaths typically know they're sociopaths, but desperately hide that they are because what would happen if others found them out? Yes, it would make it much more difficult for them to manipulate and use others to get what they want. Shane Dawson has put out an elaborate video series on YouTube, an elaborate attempt to answer the question of whether or not the YouTube star Jake Paul is a sociopath.
A sociopath is like, they're wearing a mask.
Although Shane's video series is very dramatic and suspenseful, there is a more straightforward way to determine whether or not Jake Paul is a sociopath. Jake Paul is not some quiet guy around town. He's extremely transparent, showing himself in his vlogs. Furthermore, there are numerous others who have worked with Jake Paul who can fill in the blanks of what he's like when the cameras aren't rolling. We're gonna go through each common sociopath trait and reveal the possible evidence on Jake Paul. Keep in mind, exhibiting just a handful of these sociopath traits doesn't mean a person is a sociopath. However, when someone exhibits all of them, they literally become the definition of a sociopath.
My visions and ideas like scare people because of how crazy they are.
Sociopaths have this grandiose idea of themselves because they feel entitled.
The things that I'm working on, the things that are in the pipeline, are massive, massive, massive things.
Past all the competition, man. PewDiePie is next.
I want to be the first social media billionaire.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt you doing it, man.
I'm going to.
The tattoo just for fun.
Because the sociopath feels entitled, they do whatever comes to mind at the moment.
Can we do it by the truck?
Yeah. In a minute. Yeah.
Let's go by the truck.
Whoa. Jake, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't crawl up there.
Why? Okay.
I just wouldn't do that.
I want to do the interview here.
Yeah, we can't do the interview up there. We can't do the interview up there.
People eventually find out they're being used as pawns, so they understandably cut ties with the sociopath. People have come and gone from Jake Paul's Team 10 quickly and frequently. Now, Team 10 is basically just him and his girlfriend. Is this because word has gotten out how Jake Paul treats people?
There's been members leaving Team 10.
Why I left Team 10?
That I am no longer a part of Team 10.
I didn't like what was happening, so I left.
Okay, Jake. So, you.
It already is Team 9. It's like Team 3. Thank you for so much.
Cut.
Thank you so much for supporting me on a day-to-day basis.
And then we thought that they could care about us the same as we care about them.
I don't know how to say this, but like, we lost.
Jake did a make-a-wish for a young girl. She dies a few weeks later. Now notice any emotion he shows is very fake, and he gives this odd smirk the whole time.
I don't know how to, like, I've never gone through something like this before, so like, I don't know how to cope with it, but I'm positive. And she's a one of us, bro. She's like a Jake Pauler, and I'm sorry. I guess she's in a better place now. She deserves nothing but the best. I know instead of watching the vlogs now, she's gonna be, I mean, I feel like she's here right now.
See how he's faking his sadness based on how he thinks he should act? Keep in mind, he spent a day with this girl just a few weeks ago, and he just found out she died. Typically, someone would have trouble keeping it together during that interview.
I'm like an hour late to tour rehearsals right now.
The sociopath breaks commitments and comes across as unreliable because of their feeling of entitlement.
I'm Jake Paul from Bizarre, and you're watching Disney Channel. Nailed it!
I am no longer going to be a part of Bizarre. I've literally changed like 280% since 365 days ago.
Sociopaths change their image often to avoid being found out. Naturally, sociopaths hurt a lot of people in their selfish life quest, so they must keep reinventing themselves to bring in new people they can use. Kind of like, that was the old me, this is the new me. Ever hear someone say something like that?
All of my energy is focused on changing right now and going in a new direction.
The loser has to get tased.
Sociopaths aren't concerned with how they could be endangering others because they are zeroed in on how they can use others only for their own personal gain. In Jake's case, it's getting views because views equal money, subscribers, influence, and power.
Yo, what are you doing?
I'm tanning.
What?
I'm tanning.
You look hot.
Thank you.
Don't want to run over Erica.
3, 2, 1.
It was fine.
For who?
For me and Jake.
We went friggin' flying a friggin' hunk of that.
You friggin' sent it, brother.
What if I would have moved?
Good
That's
thing
why
you
I
didn't.
told you to stay down.
I could have died.
See how Jake was acting? No concern or thought of how he could have killed Erica. And see that look on his face now? It's like, yeah, that would be bad for me. Not poor Erica could have been dead.
I could have died.
Building this basketball court, they're digging giant holes into the ground. Literally almost up to my neck, guys. So the hole-in-one prank is you put a towel over the hole, like so that it looks like it's even with the ground. And then you simply have somebody walk over it. Kudos! Hole-in-one.
Look at him, absolutely no concern of how the person who falls in that hole could break their leg. What do you think is going through his head? Yep, this'll be good for views. Jake Paul did a giant Jenga challenge using 4x4 lumber they purchased from a hardware store. Someone, of course, gets hurt when the Jenga tower finally falls, and watch the little concern Jake shows for the kid that gets hurt.
Oh, no, watch out! Watch out! You have his waiver, right, Nick?
He mostly makes jokes, shows no remorse, and comes across as mostly focused on how that kid's misfortune could bring him in more views.
Bro, you almost died! You almost died, bro! It was an inch away from your head!
I'm wondering if the floor is cracked.
Getting followers makes you feel better no matter what, you know what I mean? So it's not clickbait if we put gone wrong on the title, right? I don't know, we'll see what the title is. I realized a bigger problem that almost happened. It almost took out our Wi-Fi.
Several of his former members said that Jake regularly used slurs. When someone uses a slur, they're blatantly saying that they don't care how that other person feels. Sociopaths aren't able to understand how those words hurt other people. Furthermore, they're incapable of understanding other people's hurt.
He was saying to us all the time, Beaner. Like, we found out what was Beaner, and we were like, how he's joking about that. Like, he cannot joke about that. There's in blogs that he's calling us Martiners. No Martinez, Martiners. So Martiners is like Beaners, but Martinez, if you can tell.
Ow, ow! We were filming a video and he had a part where he would like shove me into like this pricker bush or whatever, like with like thorns, like a cactus or whatever it was. So he pushed me way too hard. He even told the camera guy before he pushed me, he's like, yo, make sure you get this, it'll be funny. Shoved me all the way into the bush. And see this, I don't know if you guys can see. This scar right here were from thorns and my entire arm was bleeding.
Sociopaths are so focused only on themselves, they don't feel remorse, shame, or guilt. So nothing stops them from doing outrageous things that will benefit themselves.
I really think I'm about to do this. It's like freezing cold though. Dude, this is nasty.
I call the police now.
Okay.
I call the police
Tell them to
now.
like and subscribe. Yo, we got a dip. Come on, run. Again. I just went to the pool. Oh, Jake Paulers, what's going down?
How old are you?
I'm 20. How old are you?
So you are not 5. Don't do this anymore.
I am 5. I'm 5.
Okay, don't do this anymore anyway.
And kids, when people tell you you can't do something, you do it again. They're coming. They're coming. Go. Bruh, I think we're gonna get kicked out.
Sociopaths don't view other people's death with sadness, but they also don't view their own death with sadness. Their own death is just viewed as game over. Therefore, they naturally pursue very risky activities. Again, this doesn't mean that sociopaths don't ever cry at funerals or anything that's sad, but the sadness they show is fake to fit in, to get what they want, so they're also not found out. Remember, if they're found out to be a sociopath, their ability to use people as pawns will be negatively impacted.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh, no! 40, 50, 60.
YouTube is the perfect playground for a sociopath because the more extreme they are, the more views they'll get and the more successful they will be. Hence, one of the reasons why it's generally believed that YouTubers are much more likely to be a sociopath than someone in the general population.
A recent stunt involved tossing furniture into an empty pool and setting the pile on fire. Neighbors say flames eventually grew higher than the house.
Sociopaths don't care. What they're doing to others around them isn't nice or fair. They don't have that concept. All sociopaths think about is what's in it for them.
Tonight, residents in a West Hollywood neighborhood are angry. They say they've had enough of the chaos created by a social media star known for his crazy antics. That man, Jake Paul.
A lot of the neighbors are complaining. They're very upset.
No, why? Why?
They say that you've created a living hell out here, that it's like a circus.
Yeah, it is.
All the fans.
I mean, but people like going to circuses, right?
Jake doesn't care that he's really bothering his neighbors. He's only focused on getting his views. He doesn't care what he's doing is mean and unfair to those around him. He's only thinking about what he wants. Again, views.
The neighbors hate me, but I'm still gonna send it. I'm still gonna send it! Are you silly? I'm still gonna fucking send it, dude.
Sociopaths don't have an internal moral compass. Their compass is merely weighing the consequences that will result for doing what they think needs to be done to get what they want.
Literally everyone here is vlogging. They're just like, oh, we're at the White House. I'm sleeping in it, bro. I'm sleeping in it. I don't know if we're allowed to be up here, but we're blending in like we got the passes and stuff too. I'm thinking that the best thing is going to be to find like a bathroom because there's no cameras and stuff. Going into this bathroom. Yo, this is so sketchy. It's like 9 o'clock now.
What about the stunt like the bonfire in the pool? A lot of them were really upset about that.
CGI. There's special effects.
Jake Paul makes a video to raise awareness for assault because he claims his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend, who's also a YouTuber, assaulted his assistant at a club.
Like dragged me by my neck. You dragged me by my neck.
But when another human assaults another human for no reason,
my thoughts are like, I would never lie to my fans. This happened.
Nope, the assault didn't happen. He lied. Jake actually made an assault awareness video based on a fake assault. He made up the whole thing to apparently get back at his ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend. If you're wondering, his body language shows he's lying in that clip, by the way. Sociopaths don't have the capacity to love. They'll of course say I love you and seek companionship, but the relationship is all about their own personal gain and never about the other person.
And then he always argued that like we weren't together, so I'm not cheating. And I move in with him, sleeping in the same bed, basically together at this point, but without a title. But then he would always have girls over in front of me, and I was just like, what the frick? So then we're not together.
Sociopaths are manipulative and deceitful because they are using people like pawns to get what they want with no regard for others.
But then he would like play all these mind games with me and just be like, yo, like don't get mad, having a girl over. And he did that like 25,000 times. I was heartbroken, like legit heartbroken. And he would do that all the time. There's nothing I could do about it because like it's his house. I'm in a contract with him. I'm basically where I'm at because of him. And like I didn't really have a place to tell him that he was wrong, even though he was really, really wrong. And like he knew exactly what he was doing to me. He like played all these mind games. He would literally tell me he loved me one day and then tell me he hates my guts the next day. He creates these rules for everyone. If you're not up by 10 a.m. filming, then like you get fined $50. Every single guest that you had over had to be approved by Jake.
People complaining about any devastation they've caused is just background noise to the sociopath. The way others feel doesn't matter to them, unless it impacts the sociopath getting what they want.
He didn't think he was doing anything wrong, and he flew out this girl and was smashing her for like a week. That was like a few days after he told me he loved me. Are you serious? Like, how could you do that to someone?
Sociopaths don't actually value relationships and bonds with other people. Any emotional bonds that are thought to have been created with the sociopath aren't real. The sociopath knows that pretending to have emotional bonds will enable them to leverage their pawn to the max. Sociopaths are likely to push a relationship with their pawn to become as serious as possible, as quickly as possible. But not too quickly, because otherwise their pawn will become suspicious. They know when they can get a relationship to become serious, they can most effectively exploit their pawn.
I never thought that someone could be so malicious and evil to kick me out of the house.
Jake's kicking me out. He didn't want to wait for me to get my apartment, which I'm getting in a couple days, so he threw all my stuff downstairs and put a lock on the door.
After I've done everything for them, helped them build an empire, a huge company, making them so much money, I don't understand how they could do that.
Members leeching 10, but I still collect their checks. Every single one of them, and that includes my ex.
I thought that was... That's so you good? Because you laugh like a walrus all the time. It's annoying.
In middle school, as you can imagine, I was the class clown. Always causing trouble, making jokes, and I couldn't sit still.
Since they're only concerned with what they want, sociopaths don't care that they're unfairly disrupting class for other students. How the teacher or other students feel don't matter, unless it directly impacts what they want.
I didn't like school. I still don't. Dang it, I dropped out of high school, I don't know. In 8th grade, our class would go on a trip to Washington, D.C. at the end of the year. It was the highlight of the year. You got to travel with your friends and stay in hotels and visit all the sites. But you couldn't go on the trip if you had 15 behavior strikes. By the middle of the year, I had 14. So, I became a good kid for the rest of the year and got to go on the trip.
The fact that Jake was able to be a good kid for several months proves that he didn't just have ADHD, where he was simply out of control. This proves he could control his actions when it was something he really wanted. Very typical of a sociopath.
I was like, I'm gonna kick your ass, and he was just like, okay.
Bro. And then act soft like that, bro. You're acting soft.
Dude, I'm acting soft because I don't want to fight, bro.
I'm just gonna take this somewhere else.
Yeah, it's the garbage.
Sociopaths act with a lot of aggression and tend to abuse people due to their lack of empathy. They don't care that they treat people like crap because everyone is just a pawn to help them get what they want. To them, their crappy behavior toward people is only a problem if it directly negatively impacts them getting what they want. Yep, it's sad.
Honestly, he did assault me a few times. If we never agreed on something or if something happened, he would spit in my face, and this has happened multiple times. He would like spit at like my feet, the ground that I walk on. He actually spit on Erica one time too. He took my phone, threw it at the wall, we got into a fight, I ran upstairs, he dragged me down the stairs, and I actually have...
Yeah, that's been on your leg since I met you. Like,
this has been here for like 2 years, dude.
The evidence that Jake Paul is a sociopath is so overwhelming. Keep in mind, this is not all the evidence that's available. If you and I had an infinite amount of time, this video would go on for 12 plus hours. Some may argue that he just put on the sociopath type personality because it's good for getting views on YouTube. However, the reality is that his on-camera personality was proven by those closest to him to be similar to his real-life personality. Furthermore, for him to even be capable of having that I do what I want and the hell with others type of on-camera persona proves he's a sociopath. Non-sociopaths would find it extraordinarily difficult doing what he does to other people because a normal person's empathy and conscience will hold them back. Jake Paul's brother Logan Paul recently made a video about the whole sociopath debate. Here's what he said.
99% of the time, someone is not a sociopath or not a sociopath. My opinion is there's a sociopathic spectrum, at which point some people lie higher on it than others. The word I would like to use is sociopathic tendencies. I prefer, if we're gonna label Jake a sociopath or not, doing it on a spectrum and where he lies on.
All right, Dr. Logan. We'll use your scale to explain this. Here's where your brother Jake falls on your sociopath spectrum. Now, let's hear what you think. If you think Jake Paul's a sociopath, give this video a thumbs up. If you think he's not, then give this video a thumbs down. In the comments, what do you think of Jake Paul? Let everyone know in the comments below. Remember to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on new videos, and I'll see you at the top.